Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to share the information I have found regarding the questions you have asked me to research. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole Lamb, and I am the new school business administrator. As I go through the presentation this evening, each slide that you will see behind me will display important points on each question that I have researched. Throughout the presentation, please don't hesitate to ask questions. The first question that I am going to be talking about tonight is, how long should it take to build a new school from planning to completion? After surveying local school districts that are roughly the same size in our area, talking with commercial builders, and researching timeframes on previously built schools, it could take anywhere from 2.5 to 5 years from planning to completion. Points that I would like you to consider are the following down here, and I'll elaborate on that now. It is important to remember and take into account if it is an elementary, middle school, or high school, the square footage of the building, and if outside facilities such as an athletic complex are included in the building plans. All of these things will help determine the amount of time it takes for planning and construction. It is also important to know that planning and design alone can take up to 6 months to a year. Time is also spent bidding for contractors and applying for permits as well. The next question is it reasonable to expect a school building to last 50 years? While meeting with the commercial builders, I also asked this question. The answer is yes, it is reasonable to expect a building to last 50 years. However, it should be made clear that it is reasonable to expect a building to last 50 years if districts are mindful with the selection and use of quality materials and during the building process. They have to remember to be proactive with maintenance plans as well for upkeep on the facility and the equipment. In the next 2 slides, I will address questions on why bond referendums are hard to pass and how our current economic times and conditions are either good or bad for bond issues. So let's start with some background information about bond referendums. A bond referendum must receive 60% of the votes to pass, and when the bond referendum passes, a community member's taxes go up. A bond referendum provides schools with a financial way to meet specific needs, such as a new school, an athletic complex, a facility upkeep or maintenance if you have older buildings in the school district, or new buses. Often bond referendums can be hard to pass because because of community members don't want their taxes to be increased. The relationship between the community and the school district is really important, so if it may be strained, it's hard for that bond to pass. And it's also very important to understand that information about the bond needs to be shared. What exactly is that money going to be used for? How is where are those funds going? The more details that the voters get, it seems they are more willing to look at passing that bond referendum. And it also depends on the economic conditions at the time that the bond referendum is voted upon. If they're bad, often community members will not pass those bonds. Currently, our economic conditions are good for bond referendums. Within the past year, the federal interest rate has increased 3 times. This indicates that the Federal Reserve feels that the economy is strong right now and citizens are spending money and feeling comfortable about that. Moving on to the next topic, which is maintenance. The first of 2 questions you asked was, how important is it to maintain facilities during tough economic times? It's very important. When When budgets are tight, maintaining facilities is a key factor in reducing unexpected costs, which leads me into answering your next question about what a preventative maintenance program should look like. A preventative maintenance program is a program that helps guide a school district to service machines, systems, and facilities to prevent a breakdown of any large components or the total system overall. By following a preventative maintenance program, the school district can fix things before it requires large repairs, which is often costly, time-consuming, and can disrupt educational programs throughout the school day. It is also important to understand that having preventative maintenance programs in place is a sound, worthwhile choice for a school budget. It assists school districts in staying up to date with scheduled service checks and inspections. It also provides complete and accurate inventory of the facility's equipment. And it reduces the frequency and number of the emergency repairs that is needed. It fosters accurate cost analysis to assist with future budgets. And finally, preventative maintenance programs increase the effectiveness of the school district's maintenance program. Earlier in the presentation, I shared information about timelines, materials, and upkeep for school facilities. Now I'm going to share information with you on ways a school district can conserve energy. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, as much as 30% of a school district's total energy may be used inefficiently or unnecessary. On this slide, I have listed some ways we as a school district can conserve energy. The use of energy efficient lighting, heating and ventilation, as well as energy efficient windows, which could also provide an opportunity for more natural lighting. Purchasing Energy Star standard appliances to use in the kitchens at school, as well as the copy machines and other places, is a fantastic idea. And as a school district, we can also have recycling stations located throughout the school district buildings. Ask staff and students to remember to power down devices and turn off lights when not in the classroom, and remember to close doors to help with climate control in the classroom. Keeping students safe and healthy while they are at school and happy is one of, if not the most important job that we have as a district. As a district, we need to continue to have positive and open communication with students and families. It is also important that we continually evaluate the district's needs and have a crisis plan in place. A crisis plan is a plan that is developed by the district to use to respond to multiple critical situations that would negatively affect the district. Examples would be an active shooter, a tornado, a gas leak, or possibly a suspicious person on the facility grounds. It is also important to have a positive working relationship with law enforcement. Some districts are now using an app called Stop It. This app can be used by districts to allow students to anonymously connect with individuals who can help resolve issues. This app allows students and parents to report violence, threats, bullying or cyberbullying, weapons possessions. Those are just a few of the things that they could report. If they don't feel comfortable going to talk to somebody, they can do this through the app. On the next slide, we are going to talk about evaluating staff and addressing personnel challenges. It is important that we continue to evaluate staff and address personnel challenges. When looking at staff evaluations and why they are important, I would like you to keep the following things in mind. Evaluations benefit both the employee and the employer. It provides opportunities for the employee to receive positive and or constructive feedback. And finally, evaluations recognize quality employees because we want employees qualified. Evaluations can also serve as an opportunity to have conversations with employees who need to improve their performance. Moving on to personnel challenges. Personnel challenges we need to worry about are recruiting and keeping qualified support staff. It proves to be a challenge today due to the unique hours that we need food service, custodial, and paraprofessional staff. It also provides a challenge when competing with other businesses in the area and the wages and benefits offered to support staff. Another personnel challenge is the recruitment and retainment of qualified and certified staff. Districts are required to be proactive in recruiting. We also need to remember to provide training and support for employees and remain competitive with other districts in the area with wage and benefits packages. The next question is, why is risk management important? When areas of risk throughout the district are identified, we can be proactive and train employees, modify facilities, and install safety equipment. By evaluating the risks and solving these problems or potential risks, we are also being proactive in saving money. Our goal should be to keep all employees and students happy and healthy throughout their experiences within the school district. What is the greatest challenge for today's school food service operations? The goal of our school district food service department is to provide tasty, well-balanced meals to students that follow the rules and regulations set forth. Since schools have been required to make menu adjustments, the U.S. Department of Agriculture data shows more than 1 million fewer students choose to eat school lunch. Food safety, staffing, and scheduling can also provide daily challenges for the food service department. Technology. What are the pros and cons of technology use in school? There are pros and cons to both. Some professionals believe technology can be a distraction for students. Monitoring student usage and privacy, as well as the extra time needed for developing lesson plans that involve technology use can also be challenging for teachers and staff. The cost and upkeep of technology devices can also be viewed as a con for the school district. Pros to using technology would include differentiated instruction. That means educational apps that allow students to progress at their own pace. Technology use also allows students to learn in different ways. Students of all abilities can be involved and thrive in the academic setting due to the assistive technology that technology offers these days. The last question of the evening will address the goals of a school transportation system. As a district, our goals should be to have efficient routes, to minimize ride times for students, and to get students from point A to point B safely. Maintain quality transportation equipment and vehicles, and adhere to the state guidelines and recommendations in providing transportation transportation services to students, This concludes my presentation of the questions that you asked me to research tonight. Thank you again for inviting me to share the important information, and please don't hesitate to call, stop by my office, or email if you have any further questions. Thank you.